Hey guys, it's Maymay, and yes, it's another folio, but today we're going to talk about something else about the folio. So if you'd like to see how this super quick, easy folio is made, we have an entire playlist of all that I've been making so you can catch up with where we are. Now this is one I made using the solid pages that coordinate with the Simple Vintage Lemon Twist. I love this pack and I've been wanting to play with it and I'm finally taking the time to do it. So that's what we're going to do today. I want to show you how to add more photos. I've had a lot of questions. I like that this holds about 8 photos, but I've had a lot of questions of how to add more. So I'm going to show you some tips and tricks in this guy, and then we'll also see how thick it gets. I want to see if it gets too thick. We'll find out together. Let's start here. So let me move this out of the way. We're going to be using this paper pack, so get ready for that beautifulness. But I want to add a waterfall, whole thing. Breaking in here to ask you to hit that red subscribe button. It's free. Also hit the bell button beside it. You can help me reach my big goal this year of 400,000 subscribers. Okay, back to crafting. Okay, so I want to show you how I plan out my waterfall so you can know how to do this in any folio you make, all right? So I want to have a waterfall in this middle section of my folio here. I need to determine first the width of my photo mat. Here I have 5.5 inches in this section that I can use, but I don't want my photo mat to be the full width because if it is, I'm going to get some resistance on the sides, okay? What I'm going to do is slide this guy over so that I can have 1/8 of an inch on this side and 1/8 of an inch on this side, and it will make my mats be 5 1/4. Do you see that? I just slid this over, giving myself that little 1/8 of an inch so I can have it over here as well. And now 5 1/4 is my mat width. So that's what we're going to work with. Now I want my photo mats to be 4 inches tall. I just pulled that out of the air. That's what I want. I could make them 4 1/4, whatever, but I'm gonna make them 4 inches tall. So here's what I'm gonna do. I need to measure from the bottom up to allow for that. Now, I personally don't want my photo mat to go all the way to the bottom of this page. It could, that's fine. You can see I tested it and I didn't like the way it laid out, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Instead of going to 4 inches, because I have 1/8 of an inch on either side, I'm going to move up 1/8 of an inch here as well. So you see how I've gone to 4 1/8, and then I'm going to make that mark. So my marks that you might can see on camera are going to change. We're going to use these darker marks, okay? So now I know I have a 4-inch waterfall piece, okay? It's 1/8 of an inch in, 1/8 of an inch in, and 1/8 of an inch up, and I know my measurement I'm working with. Now, I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to measure from here up. Now, why am I going to do that? As long as I do this way, the math is easy, okay? If I try to measure from the line up like this, the math is harder. Just trust me. Go like this, okay? Measure like this. So now that I've got my 4 1/8 inch up here, now I want to go and mark every 1/2 of an inch. My binding piece that I'm going to put into my folder, in my folio, is going to be 1/2 an inch. So here's what I'm doing. I'm making this little mark, okay? So ignore the ones I did earlier. Like I said, I'm changing those. We're using these guys, all right? So I want you to see, I'm going to have a little more than 1/8 of an inch at the top, but I'm fine with that. You'll be able to see some of that. And then down here, this is how many waterfalls I can put in. So let's count. You're going to count between your dashes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I can put a 9th one here because that's where my last one will go. So 9 right there. So I can do 9 waterfalls. That's how I find how this works, okay? And I think you can do that on any folio. Even if you're using this tiny one and you want to put one here, just establish the width of your piece, establish the height, allow for room at the bottom, and then work your way up. That's how I do it, all right? I hope that made sense. If it didn't, ask questions, okay? So let's cut our 9 waterfall pieces, which I almost said the dimensions, but I don't want to say that yet. I want to explain that in just a second. Okay, I have decided to use some black, some yellow, and I may go into the paper pack and mix in some pattern. I don't want to use all pattern for my waterfall because sometimes that's a waste of the pattern paper. For me, I'd rather use solids because I'm going to just put pictures on it anyway. So we might mix it up a bit, but here's what you're going to cut. Let's cut the yellow so you can really see what I'm doing. Here's what we're going to do. We need to cut 4 1/2 by 5 1/4. That's what we're going to cut. Now this paper is A4, so I'm trying to decide which way I want to do it. I think I'll do it this way. 4 1/2 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to do 4 1/2 here. That's one. I'm gonna do another 4.5. Ooh, that felt like I messed up. All right, and then I'm gonna cut these down to 5.25. So the measurement you want for your waterfall pieces, okay, for what we're doing in this one is 5.25 by 4.5. All right, so that's what we need, 9 of those. I'm gonna cut those real quick. So now I have my 9 pieces, and I wanna show you what I did. So I could have a little bit of pattern in this waterfall without using all my pattern paper to make the waterfall, I just did every 3rd piece in this because I needed 9. So I did black, yellow pattern, like that, okay? So I'm gonna place this into my scoreboard at the 4.5-inch side. This will be the top of my waterfall piece, so I wanna make sure my paper's correct, and I'm gonna score it at 4 inches. Now I'm really just scoring a 1/2-inch spot, but it's easier for me to score at 4 than half. It's a little harder to get down here and do a 1/2-inch score. So that's why I'm doing it here. Then this is gonna get folded back and then creased, and this is gonna be how we get our waterfall glued in. All right, so you're gonna do that to every piece. Again, I'm gonna put this one here, score it at 4, and I don't have to fold them now. I'm just gonna go ahead and get them all scored, and then we'll put them in to the folio. Now, I've taken a second to lay these out how I want them to be in my waterfall here. What I want is I want that plaid to be on top. I just think that'll be cute. And then it'll be like plaid, yellow, another pattern, then yellow, black, another pattern. It'll be like that, okay? Now, here's what you have to decide. Do you want these to have rounded corners? It looks really good when they do to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and that's the wrong punch. That was my stub and scallop. Let's get the round one out. I'm gonna get this guy out and I'm gonna round them at 1/2 inch. Now I can do 3 pages at a time. I think I can do 4, but we're just gonna do 3. I'm not gonna round the top. You could, but I don't see any reason for it. We're just gonna round the bottom, and I'm gonna round them at 1/2 inch. And I'm gonna do that to all of them. And I'm keeping my layout together because I don't wanna have to replace everything. So make sure your corner round in the bottom, not where your score mark is. I say that because I had to check there. I had to double check. I've still got that one folded. Let me open it up. And then we'll corner round. Okay, now installation couldn't be easier, okay? I like to turn, I'm gonna flip that over. I like to turn this guy under. This is that part we scored, okay? Turn that under, and I'm gonna crease it down really tight. I like to turn it under and then glue that down, and we'll be gluing it at our mark we made here. So all we have to do is line up to our mark and then have an eyeballed 1/8 of an inch over here and over here, and you can see we kind of get an 1/8 of an inch down here. This is how I like to do it, okay? Some people would have, I think you'd have to have one less, but some folks like to leave this guy open. If you're gonna leave it open and glue that down like that, which is fine, you can do that. You just have to change the way you go from the bottom up. You see how much closer? You'd have to start at your 2nd line there instead of your 1st line. But I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do it with the folded down. Also, there's so many ways to do this. Do not stress. This is just how I do it, and I thought I would just show you, because sometimes you guys like to get into my brain when I design these kind of things. This is how I do it. All right, so I'm going to line this guy up. I'm gonna turn it where you guys can see it too. I'm gonna line this guy up on our little line, an 1/8 of an inch on either side. And you just kind of have to be fussy with the first placement. The others go so easy. This first one, you gotta get it in the right spot, pay, a little bit of attention, and then watch what happens. You take your next one, do your line, crease it down, just like so. You're gonna add glue, and then you're just gonna line it up to the top of this guy. That's all you're gonna do. And you're gonna continue that all the way up. So I'll just lay this guy down, lining him up to the one we just did, side to side, and right above it. I'll open this up and show you what I'm talking about. You could leave it open. I just wanted you to see how it laid in. So see that? You just put it right above it, and that's your second one. Isn't that easy? Come on, this is easy, right? I think it is. All right, so let's glue this one. And I'll show you this. Like I was saying, you could do this with this open, so you could see it. You could lay it like this so you can look at it. Line it up, top, all the way across the top and to the bottom. So cool. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Now, I have my waterfall all installed. Isn't that beautiful how that works out? And I hope you enjoyed me showing you how I measure it. And you can see that this is not exactly perfect here, but it's pretty close and it fits pretty good. Now, what we're gonna do when we get to decorating is I'm gonna come down here and add a piece that is a closure to magnet this shut. I think that'll be a cute place to add one of the pretties from the pack. Okay, so now I have my waterfall. I closed everything up for you to see it. My waterfall is living on this side, and I like that pretty good. Now I'm gonna show you how to add more photos without too much work. Let me show you what we're gonna do. So now what I've done is I've cut 3 pieces that are 4 1/4 by 6 3/4. I want to add more photos. Remember, that's the point of today's video, how to add more photos. I don't think you can do all of the techniques I'm showing you today in one folio, but we'll see. We're gonna see how full it gets, okay? Now what we've been doing is just installing these into our folio and having that for the space for the photo. And we've been able to get like 8 into a folio. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna use this to double this space. Let me show you how. So, taking this guy, laying it in to our scoreboard on the 6 3/4 side, I want you to score it at 6 1/4. We're doing that same thing again where we're making a 1/2 inch fold over at the top. I'm just doing on this end so it's easier to do. So here we're gonna score it at 6 1/4, just like so. Again, here, 6 1/4. Okay, so now what I wanna do is, let's go ahead and fold and crease these guys while we're at it. So going back to our folio, we're gonna go the first place we have to install a photo. This is where we will install it, and this is how I'm gonna do it. Let's say I want to put this one here, okay? I'm going to go ahead and glue this guy in, and I just realized this is actually enough to give us 3 photos. I'll show you how. So we're going to glue this in using that little flap, anywhere you want it, high, centered, whatever you want to do. I want to do them all different when we install them here, so get that glued down. Then what you'll do is you'll take one of these guys and you're going to put it on top. This lets the recipient know where to put the photo. Now let me say this, if you're putting the photos in, don't waste this paper. This is for if you're giving this as a gift so they know what to do. Then we're gonna take this guy and mount it here, just like so. Then I'm gonna open this up. Now you could put another piece here or you could cut this longer. Here's the reason I didn't do it. Number one is because this had to be 6 3/4 and you can't double that. But another reason is I really don't want to waste the cardstock, and maybe that's just me being chintzy. It could be. Instead, I'm just going to put this guy right here so this will go over it. You see what I'm saying? It's perfectly fine. We're going to let this paper be our background. I'm trying to save some paper because I want to stretch it as far as I can. And I think by the time we decorate and put pictures in and all that, it's not going to be that big of a deal that this one isn't really matted. All right. So I'm going to go right up here to the top and place this in. And you see how it goes almost all the way to the edge up there anyway? Just make sure when you put it in, you're covering it up. And we are. So now we've got that one, this one, and look, we can put one here as well. So now in this one spot, we just added 3 photos. That's pretty thin. So this makes me feel okay. Even if, like I said, if I were putting the photos in, I would just be gluing a photo down and that wouldn't be too thick. So there's 3 there. Let's turn the page. So we've got 9 plus 3. And now let's do here. And you guessed it, I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna put one of these guys in and then we're gonna put our photo mats on it. Now to be different, I'm gonna take this one up to the top, kind of line it up with where my waterfall is on the page next to it. Not because I think it needs to match, but I think that'll look good and then I can decorate all around it and kind of keep the top kind of the same. And I'll need to put my photo mats on. Now we got one more spot right here to do the same 3 photos. So I'm gonna do this one and then we'll get back together when I've got my photo mats glued in place. Okay, let's go back to this waterfall real quick. I wanna show you how I'm gonna make the little piece to close it, to hold it down, all right? So I've cut several pieces. Let's start with these 2 first. So this piece is 1 1/4 by 9 inches, okay? And then this piece I cut 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 just to fit in here, and it's actually going to get covered up, but I need it to hold my little piece down. Okay, so I'm going to lay these guys up, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this little guy. I'm going to show you what's going to happen, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to place it underneath here. We're going to glue it down, right? But here's what I want you to do. Just because everybody's waterfall will lay out slightly different depending on how you did it, put your piece under there. Lay this up, and all I want it to do is land in this area. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right now I've got too much, so I'm gonna tuck it under a little bit more. You might not even need to cut 9 inches. You might could cut less. But I'm gonna pull this up, and that's about what I want. Now I'm not scoring or making a gusset at the bottom, so I'm just gonna press this over and crease that down. I want my magnet and my decorative piece to live up here. So this tells me, this crease that I just made, that I need to glue this here onto here to start with, okay? So I'm gonna add some glue here. Then I'm just gonna check this guy for orientation and glue that down and just eyeball that center. Ooh, way off, better eyeballs. And just get that on there. I still think that's a little bit off. Let's see if I can move it a tiny bit. Have to hurry before my glue dries. Okay, so I got that glued down just like this, and now I'm gonna glue this whole piece in under our waterfall. And I wanna make sure I leave my little strip facing up, or where it can go up. And we're gonna place this here, even side to side, and I'm gonna do a double check and make sure that I've got this where I need. I need to bring it out a little bit. I can always edit that too because I have plenty of extra space up there. There we go. All right, so now we've installed that. See, and our little strap is in there. Now we wanna make the magnet piece at the top. So this is where that's gonna live. Let me show you how I'm gonna do this one. There's lots of ways to do it, but here's how I'm gonna do it. So I found this piece that I think is so cute that I'm gonna put about in this area, and I'm gonna bring this guy up to that. I've got too much, that's okay, we'll deal with that in a second. But this is gonna be the piece that I sandwich for my magnet to live in. So I just wanted to show you so you could see where we're going. Okay, we need to put our magnets in. This is where I always mess up. Let's do magnets. Now I'm gonna use these little guys, but if you're gonna put a lot, if you think you're gonna put a lot of thickness in here, you might wanna use a thicker one, but I'm just gonna use these little guys right here. And I gotta unstick them from each other. All right, it is a plus and a minus. Let me put them together like this. I'm gonna use my pokey tool. So many people have been asking lately, what is a pokey tool? This is what I have called this since as long as I can remember. And it's just a tool that has a pointy end on it. All right, this guy, I will mount back here because it's gonna go under our little cut apart. But I don't need that top one on there. I'm gonna peel that one off for a second and put it over here. Now I'm gonna sandwich this in. This is what will hide our magnet. Just like this. Now what I want to do is I want to put this magnet back in place. It'll find its home. See how it did? I want to peel this adhesive backer off, or the protective backer off of the adhesive. Just like this. And now I'm going to bring this guy up and catch that. Now I am going to give myself a little bit of room. See how I just kind of loosened that? You might not can see, but I'm going to give it a little wiggle there so I have some room. Not too much. About that much. And then catch our magnet. Okay? Now I know how much of this guy I need to keep. Let's stay in camera where you can see. Now I know how much I need right here. Do you see this? I don't need every bit of it. But what I'm going to do is lay my sticker here just to give me a look, to let me know how much I can cut off. And it looks like I can cut right above our magnet. So let me do that. Right about here. Looks like a good spot. Okay, now before I sandwich this on, I want to cut a piece to go behind. Now I could just do a shape, I could just do a circle or whatever would fit on this, but I think I'm gonna cut a little piece around it. Let me show you how I'm gonna do that. All right, I'm gonna be a little bit extra, a little bougie on this one, okay? What I'm gonna do is give it 2 layers. I just think this will be pretty. So I'm sticking this down to my page. I'm gonna fussy cut around it. You don't have to do a lot of fussy cutting with these albums, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to do this. So I'm just gonna come and fussy cut, leaving a little bit of a border. Then I'm gonna take a scrap piece of black and I'm just gonna trace this onto here. Then I'm gonna cut this out a little wider than that. So we'll have a couple of layers of color where our magnet is. I think that'll be pretty. I'm just coming around and giving a little erase to the pencil mark because it just kind of shimmers on black cardstock. This will kind of knock it back. Now I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. This is just kind of how I wanted it to look. I wanted it to have this double layer look, almost die cut look. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, let's go back to our magnet. So this piece is gonna live here and cover up our magnet. Then this piece is gonna live on the other side and be sandwiched on, correct? All right, so what we're gonna do is add glue here first. And you'll notice I'm trying to get all the way to the edge because I do not want this to come off, okay? And I wanna show you what I want you to do. When you put this on, you wanna place it into that glue and then massage it with your fingers until it catches. what'll happen is it kind of relaxes the fibers of the paper around that magnet. See how you're starting to see the magnet? That's what I want to happen. You could take your burnishing tool or something and do this, but the reason you do it is because it'll help the paper to lay down all the way around the magnet and catch into the glue. All right, now let's send this up here. Let that catch, it just pop right into place. And you guessed it, now this guy gets glued here. And look how cool, it's got a couple of layers, looks a little fancy. Let's put this one on. So that is now my little closure for our waterfall. So now it stays in place, but you can see how much room I gave it. I know I'm gonna be putting some photos in there, so I didn't want it to be too tight. It's just gonna hold it in place. All right, let's work on these guys. So now I wanna make the little booklets that are gonna go into our pockets. And we've got 2 pockets, so we need this twice. So I've cut 2 pieces, 10 by 7, and this one is 10 by 7. Now what we wanna do is we wanna score this in half at 5. Now if you remember, we're using 4 by 6 photo mats. So this is gonna be the size we need to mount our photo mats on. So I'm just gonna fold this over and crease it down. And I'm gonna round the corners while it's folded, okay? And that way I'll get this cute little booklet look. So you can see by rounding the corners with it closed, you see how it gives us that pretty little look there. Now we will mount these guys inside. Now someone said to me I need to be careful so I can add some that are for landscape. You do, or you can stamp some of these landscape, but to be honest with you, when you're putting photos in, you're gonna cover this anyway. As long as it's a 4 by 6, it really doesn't matter which way it's glued in. But if you want to do some where this is going sideways, you certainly can. All right, we're gonna glue 8 of these guys. Now we have 8 more photos. We're gonna do 4 on this one and 4 on the other one. Okay, so let's see where we're at. We need to put our little booklets in. So what I'm gonna do, this one, I love this pattern, this lemony pattern. I'm gonna turn it like that and slide that into our first pocket. And then we'll find our second pocket, which is here, and put this one in. I think the black will be pretty in here, so that'll sit in there like that. And then we can close this guy back up. I almost forgot how it closed. Okay, looking at it like this, it looks great, right? But look how thick this is, and there's no photos or decorations in here. So I think this is overkill. I think you can take some of these ideas and mix them into a folio, but I don't think you need all of them. Plus, what we've done today, this guy will hold up to, and more, up to 25 photos. And let me show you why I mean more. We get 4 right here, we're getting 3 here, because remember, this opens and we've got spots for 3. Same here, another little booklet. But when we go to the waterfall, if you only place them on the top, you get 25 when you fill this in. But if you also place them front and back, it's even more. So I think it's overkill. I think it's too much inside of here. But I love being able to give you the ideas, because maybe you just want to add the booklets and maybe these, or maybe you just want to do the old way we did our photos and just add the waterfall. But I just wanted to give you some options. Now, I know this video may not be very long. This is part 1. I hate to give you a part 2, but these things take time to do, and my time has run out at this point, and I can come back and decorate this in our next video. So come back for that. When I decorate, I'm gonna do something I haven't done for the folios yet, and that is make a belly band. I haven't been doing belly bands. I'm either gonna make a belly band, or I'm gonna put that closure on I showed y'all in the live show, the little tab closure. I'm interested to do that one. Matter of fact, if you'd like to see that one, tell me in the comments below you want me to do that little, we'll call it the tab closure, because I think it'd be really cute right here, like do a little bow. So let me know. But that is part 1. Are you guys loving this? How easy, right? To get so many photos. It'll be hard to dial down which ones you actually would do. Me personally, I think I wouldn't do the waterfall for me, because that's a lot for me. I think I would do this. I do enjoy this little technique. All right, let me know in the comments what kind of closure you want. Also, let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to follow the playlist where we have all of these guys that we've done listed for you guys. And just a reminder, we had a big schedule change and it starts this next week. So please look in the description below and watch the video we filmed telling you about our new schedule. It'll be important that you keep up with that for a little while. Thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, bye now.